Good morning. We're going to keep exploring our absolute value. We're going to be looking at some equations today and just solving for absolute values. So that's our goal for today. So when looking at this, and I will have this ready for your journals when you get back, so don't worry about copying it down. I will have a hard copy for you to put in your journal. So when we're looking at this, we have some steps that we're going to be following. So step 1, we're going to isolate the absolute value expression. Step 2, we're going to set the quantity inside the absolute value notation equal to positive and negative the quantity on the other side of the equation. That's when solving these. And remember, that's going to relate to our story yesterday when we were at Walmart and we could go right to Sonic or left to Chick-fil-A. And so it's going distances, distance right and distance left. The absolute value is never going to be negative. You're never negative distance. And then step 3, solve for the unknown in both equations. And then 4, we're going to check our answer analytically or graphically. Mostly today we're just going to check analytically and go back and see, does my answer make sense? So let's get started. So you have your green sheet, and it just reminds us that the absolute value is distance from 0 on the number line, and that distance has got to be positive. That's going to make us think on one of these problems down below. And we use the symbol of the bars to represent the absolute value of a number. So when we're looking at find the absolute value of a number, we're asking ourselves, okay, what's the absolute value of 5? We're asking a different question. How far is 5 from 0? The absolute value is 5. It is 5 units from 0. And then the next one, what is the absolute value of negative 7? How far is negative 7 from 0? It is 7. It's just 7 to the left of 0. And then we're going to the absolute value of 2. How far is 2 from 0? And it is 2. And then how far is negative 2 from 0? It is 2 in the other direction. And then we come to a little equation over here. The absolute value of x is equal to 0. So we have to play our trip game. We're going to Sonic or we're going to Chick-fil-A, one of the two. So x can be equal to 2. We went to Sonic. Or x can be equal to negative 2. We went to Chick-fil-A. And so there's our answers. And most of the time we're going to put these answers in a set because it is a solution set. And we're going to put our answers from least to greatest. And so the answer to the equation, absolute value of x is equal to 2, will be negative 2, 2. Okay, let's solve some equations and then we'll check. So if we go back to our steps, it says isolate. So we've already got our absolute value isolated. Set the quantity inside the absolute value equal to plus or minus. So we have k plus 6 equals 9. Or we have k plus 6 equals negative 9. So there we go again. Sonic, Chick-fil-A. And then solve each equation. So we're going to subtract 6 from the left side. So we get k is equal to 3. And then we're going to subtract 6 on the right side. And we get k is equal to negative 15. And then it says last step, we're going to check analytically. So we're going to substitute these back in. So 3 goes in here for this case. So we have the absolute value of 3 plus 6. And that is a grouping symbol, so we're going to do that first. So 3 plus 6 is 9. The absolute value is 9. Check, that one works. And then we're going to substitute in negative 15 for k. Negative 15 plus 6 is negative 9. The absolute value of negative 9 is 9. Check, that one works as well. Okay, moving to this one. And you always have to stop and ask yourself, can I do what is given here? So this says the absolute value is a negative number. can we have negative distance? And the answer will always be no. I cannot do this problem. Okay, going to the next one. We have the absolute value of 8 plus p is equal to 2p minus 3. And so we're just going to follow our steps. Isolate the absolute value expression. It is isolated. Set the quantity inside the value, absolute value notation to plus and minus. So we're going to come down here. We're going to have the OR situation going on. So we have 8 plus p is equal to the plus, or the positive side of this, or we have 8 plus p is equal to the negation of that expression. Okay, so we're going to solve both. So on this left side, we're going to subtract p from both sides. So I have a is equal to p minus 3. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So I have 11 is equal to p. And then on the right equation, we're going to distribute that negative. So we have 8 plus p is equal to negative 2p plus 3. And then we're going to solve the equation. So we're going to add 2p to both sides. So we have 8 plus 3p is equal to 3. I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. So I have 3p is equal to negative 5. Divide by 3, and p is equal to negative 5/3. Okay, we're going to check our work. 11 plus 8 is 19. 2 times 11 is 22 minus 3 is 19. Check, that one works. Okay, 8 plus a negative 5/3. So if you want to, think of that as negative 1 2/3. So 8 minus 1 2/3 is going to give us 6 1/3. And then 2 times negative 5/3 is going to give us negative 10/3 minus 3. And do that, and we'll find out that these are going to equal as well. Okay, on our next equation, we have quite a bit of stuff going on. This is just like you would think of this absolute value as a variable. What is happening to it? It's being multiplied by 4, then added with 5. And so we're going to undo all of that first. So the first thing, since it's being multiplied by 4 first, multiplied by 4, not added. Multiplied by 4 and then adding 5. We're going to undo that in reverse. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract 5, then divide by 4. So there's our steps to get ready to solve the absolute value. Okay, so we're going to subtract 5 for both sides. So we have 4 times the absolute value of 2y minus 7 is equal to 9 minus 5. So we have 4. Now our next step, check, that one's done. Next step, we're going to divide both sides by 4. So we have the absolute value of 2y minus 7 is equal to 1. Now, here is where we have the absolute value isolated. So we're going to set each equation equal to the positive and the negative and solve. So on the left side, we are going to add 7 to both sides. So we get 2y is equal to 8. Divide by 2, y is equal to 4. And then on the right side, we're going to add 7. So we get 2y is equal to 6. Divide by 2, and y is equal to 3. So let's go back and put these solution sets in here. So we have 3 and 4 for this one. We have negative 5/3 and 11 for this one. And then at this one, we have negative 15 and 3 for solution sets. Okay, we did not check down here, so we're going to go back and check. So if we substitute 3 in here, 2 times 3 is 6, minus 7 is -1. The absolute value of -1 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 5 is 9. Check, that one worked. Okay, now 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 7 is 1. The absolute value of 1 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 5. Check, that one works. And so you always want to analyze, does my answer make sense? So you have a few more problems to do, quick, easy assignment today, and I just want you to have the best of days ever. Thank y'all.